Hi, everybody. So I wanted to take a few seconds to introduce myself and kind of go over a few things that you might need to know this year, especially as we're in remote learning right now. So hopefully this information helps you guys out on curriculum night. So the first thing I wanted to always do is talk a little bit about myself so you guys get a little bit of an idea of who I am and some of the things that I've done around here. So this is my 16th year teaching altogether. 15 of those years have been here at Stony Creek High School. Also during that time, I've taught a little bit at Rochester High School as well. This semester, I'm teaching Language Arts 10 and World History. Language Arts 10 is a 10th grade class. World History is a 9th grade class. So I might have had some of your sons or daughters in World History last year. Also within the district, I coached football for quite some time, and then I'm still currently the varsity baseball coach over at Rochester High School. It's been about 11 years in that position. Over here at Stony Creek, I'm also the sponsor of the Build On Club, where we're working to raise money to build schools in developing countries around the world. We've actually worked to raise money to build schools in Malawi, Senegal, Haiti, Guatemala, and Nicaragua, and send students to go and do those things as well. And then last thing you should know is I also have two daughters. You can see a picture of them, Lily and Nora, on this screen. You might have actually seen pictures of them already as my wife teaches here at Stony Creek, and she has the same picture on hers. So I wanted to introduce what is it that you guys are going to be learning in Language Arts 10 this year, and I have a number of units that are set up for you. We're actually going to be picking up on the literature standpoint, and we're going to begin this semester by reading The Crucible. Students have gotten an introduction into that over the last couple of days. A lot of the other units that you're getting are going to be kind of mixed in while we're going over the literature and some of the other things. We're going to end up doing a lot with reading comprehension and also with writing. That's the elements of composition portion. We work hard with grammar and mechanics. And we'll also work on vocabulary as well. And then you can get a little bit of a look at some of the literature units that we have outside of the Crucible. So with this being such a unique setup this year with remote learning, I wanted to provide a little bit of information about that type of classroom for us. So I have a little bit of that information for you right here. One of the first things I always tell students is to make sure that they're working hard and being kind. I know that remote learning brings about a lot more challenges than what we've had before, but we'll do our best to navigate through those. I also put in here is that it's difficult right now to really kind of assess students where they are, especially at the beginning of the year where we're just kind of getting started into content. It poses a little bit of a challenge, but for students, if they have questions, make sure that they're asking in any way that they can. I'm always available before or after class. I've got my emails on this slide and then later on in the PowerPoint as well. I'm usually pretty available for students to try and help them out, so then that way they can get whatever it is that they need. I just think that it's a little bit of a challenge not being able to see them. We kind of lose some of that personal touch. So let me know if you guys have any questions and I'll do my best to help you out. And then also if students are struggling, especially based on time frame, if they need extra help, extra time, make sure that you communicate with me. Part of my goal is to make sure that students don't suffer because we're in the situation that we are. I know that, again, that's very challenging for everybody, and you guys are doing a great job making things work, but I want to let you guys know that I'll be pretty flexible on things as we go also. So some more things to talk a little bit about with our class in here. I wanted to talk about Google Classroom, as we're going to be using that most of this semester, especially while we're in remote learning. That's where I'm going to end up hosting announcements, assignments, and anything else for students. They're all very familiar with it, but on your end as parents and guardians, I would definitely encourage you to make sure that you have access to that for your students. So then that way you can look at things, you can check and see where they are, especially on assignments, just because it might take a few days for us to get everything graded, but you can go in there and see if they've submitted it by the deadline or not. As far as our daily routine, I have always told students to check Classroom before they end up coming into our class. Most of the days we're going to start on Zoom. Some days we might have an activity that we're going to be doing before, but everything's going to be a little bit different as we go. So just make sure that they're checking on there. And I want you to know that I'll always be available for the entire 90 minutes. There are going to be times where when we're dealing with the pacing of different students, we might stop a few minutes early to give some people a little bit longer, or we might be pushing all the way until the end. But I'm usually available during all that time so that I can help students out, especially for individual questions. I also on here post information about academic integrity. We all know that that ends up being a little bit of an issue when we're in our normal school setting, but being in a remote setting, I think students have a lot more opportunities to be able to cheat or plagiarize or pass somebody else's work off as their own. There's obviously traditional consequences for that if that happens, but one of the toughest things is we are already concerned that students could potentially be behind because of the situation that we're in. So if a student uses remote learning as the opportunity to not do that much and just fall behind, it'll obviously catch up as we go on. And I keep telling students that kind of the ball keeps bouncing as we go. So we're still required to teach the entire curriculum during this time frame. So we want to make sure that they're still learning in there. So I would just kind of encourage your student to make sure that they're working as hard as they can and they're doing everything authentically. Couple other quick things to note on here for you. I did want to note for you that our grading policy, everything's going to be done on a total points basis. There's going to be a lot of things that may change as we return to in-person learning, and we're probably not going to have a whole lot of testing or quizzing while we're in the remote setup, because that poses a lot of challenges itself. If we do, students will know in advance, but we'll look for ways to do it so that it assesses the information that we need. But just kind of know that we'll have assignments that students are doing just about every day in here, and they'll have to kind of keep up on that work. I put on here about absences. If you know that your student is going to be gone, make sure that you let me know in advance, and I'll do my best to reach back to you and get you everything that you're going to end up needing. And then just a couple other quick things that I had on here is that if and when we return to in-person learning, a lot of these things might end up changing. We'll adjust things as we go. And then I give you my contact information just in case you need it. Either of those things, you can just reach back out to me and I'll help you out as best as I can. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, just let me know. And besides for that, I look forward to working with your students during the course of this semester. Thank you.